have my dear Dr. Norma. She's quite hale and hearty, and I know very engaged at this point of time, thinking how to make the best presentations to this young student. They're very difficult. And I think we have two more guests. Let me see if their video cameras are on. Ahmed and Tarek, can I request you to please switch on your camera? You can get a little introduction together, and then we can move
Yes.
on with the session.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, my brother Rajiv. It's so lovely to see you and the rest of the family. And indeed, it is time to act now. My brother JK is saying, Ronnie, it's a pleasure to meet you. Dr. Norma, I'm delighted to see you too. And to say it is in fact time to act now. And we decided to act immediately. I've got Dr. Pachori here with me as well. We decided to act right away and invite our dear rest of the family. We've got Tariq, my brother Tariq, and Rashid here. Assalamu alaikum. It's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for being here. And they're working on. Just for everybody's information, I wanted to say that I couldn't resist, and couldn't help but ask them to join. And thank you, Rajiv ji, and the rest of the family for having all of us. They're working on some really fascinating things, which they'll talk to you about. I just want to provide a little sneak peek to the Civilization Rights Institute and the beautiful work they're doing. And I thought there was an incredible synergy between the efforts of Act Now and since we are all part of the same family, I thought it was important that we get together, and I'll let them talk more about not only what the Civilization Rights Institute is doing, why it's important, and how Tariq Bhai and Rashid Bhai are leading and propelling an important movement on civilization rights. So I'll let them talk more about it. And before we do that, let me ask Dr. Pachori to say hello.
Hello, it's such a pleasure to be here. So nice to meet everybody. Look forward to the discussions today. Thank you.
Indeed.
Good morning. I'm so thankful, grateful that you're here this evening, and that.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. Nice to see you.
Thank you, my brother. We're so delighted. We've been waiting. Yes.
I have on the screen Mr. Ronnie Anthony. He is from Taiwan. He is currently in Taiwan for many years. And three of us, along with JK sir, we have been coordinating this event since the very first event, and we have been together for almost 20 years. So he's the one who has been training all the students for this session this evening for almost entire 1 month. And they have been at it for almost 6 hours now. And prior to that also, they've been at it for almost 12 hours. So we're already into sessions of 15 hours. We have gone by 9 more hours to go. And we had great sessions, started with UNEP. We have been pushing UNEP. So Natalia Alexeva and Samantha were there. And Susan Gardner sent a message. And we had a message for Ingrid Anderson. And obviously we had a audio general public message from UN chief also. And we had some great guests, including Dr. Niall McCann. Eric was there. He's traveling to Beijing, and he joined from Beijing right away, just skipping his dinner. And all this is because these young students you see on the screen right now, they have been at it for almost 12, 6 hours. I don't know whether they have had their food, whether they have how their parents are reacting, because they're on mobile and the internet and laptop for almost 15 hours, but they're putting it to good use. It's all very nice and good. And welcome, Tariq and Ahmed. The doctor has already briefed me up, and I'm so happy to see you. And we're looking forward to hearing from you. So I'll hand it over to Dr. Ash for further proceedings.
Thank you so much. I just want to start off by saying congratulations to the entire family, and also for this phenomenal energy that we've had the good fortune of being privy to and experiencing firsthand as these incredible young people are making presentations are about the leadership roles they're playing in their schools, on the ground. And I think this is exactly what we need. We thought we'll keep it very conversational. We're with family, so we wanted to just say that we believe in everything you're doing. So just keep on keeping on. I think that with respect to the pop movement, certainly just to provide a little bit of background, the genesis is that the pop movement was born with the idea that young people have to take lead in propelling the movement to protect our planet. And there's really not going to be any other way to make this happen. We certainly need to bring all stakeholders on board, but young people are going to play the pivotal role in making it happen. And really, the time to act is now, because and act now is exactly our message. So I just want to say that I underscore that, because our window of opportunity is very small. And frankly, for anyone who thinks that they are not going to be impacted by climate change, and or it's something that's in some far off distant future, we have another thing coming, because climate change is here, it's now. And really, the truth is that in addition to things like addressing issues of loss and damage, we need to all think about how we are going to adapt to climate change, and also what we can do as individuals to mitigate climate change. The classic story, which is about this, and it's a true story about a dance troupe where, as part of one of the performances, there was one girl in this troupe and all these young men, and the girl had to be sort of flung up, and was to be caught upon her descent as she, sort of started to come down after being flung up. And she crashed. She crashed, and unfortunately, it was fatal. And when they undertook an investigation to ask what happened and why this turned out to be the case, all of the members of the dance troupe said they thought somebody else was going to jump in to catch her. And so nobody did it. And that's exactly the situation as far as climate change is concerned. If we're all going to think, oh, we're not going to do it because somebody else is going to do it, or it's not my problem, it's somebody else's problem. Unfortunately, we're in a situation where, as we know, there's no planet B. We don't have another option. And ultimately, it's an existential threat, the biggest challenge of our time. So I know we're all together because we all have conviction to act. And so I won't delve into that too much, but I do want to highlight one point, which is that in many of our conversations with very many people in urban spaces where you would expect access to information being quite prolific, sometimes there's an overload, I agree, and we do have the problem of misinformation, but people are actually not very well educated as much as we might believe in our own communities that we have all the information. You'd be surprised that our neighbors don't necessarily. And that, I think, is sort of brings around the point of education being very, very key to addressing the issue of climate change, understanding the science of climate change, understanding it very fundamentally, and what we can do. One of the worst things we can do is to create a situation where people understand there's a challenge but not know what to do with it. And therefore, I think it's also very important to translate that into actionable steps for the average person. Why focus on young people and the importance of all these precious presentations we've been privy to? Well, because young people, have the most at stake as far as the issue of climate change. Also, young people are least set in their ways. And while we are talking about young people, we realize that we need intergenerational connectedness and we need a movement. And young people really have the ability to influence change within their schools and universities. And I just listening to all these amazing presentations, you are already making change. I just wanted to say one other thing that, for all the amazing things that you're doing, make your voices heard, amplify your voices through platforms like Act Now, share what you're doing, create awareness, and also document, because I think it's a very important part of sharing with the world and amplifying your voice, what you're doing. And I just wanted to say that one of the things we do at the POP movement, in addition to capacity building and education, and our tagline reads "Youth Inspired by Knowledge," which means we are very driven to disseminate, to create knowledge products and disseminate them. And we've just recently come out with these books, which talk about the science of climate change really in the simplest forms, format and actions that all of us can take and they're available on Amazon. But I just wanted to say that really it's to make that information accessible to anybody who may or may not be invested professionally speaking in dealing with climate change on a full-time basis. But what can you do in your life while you're busy with a career and a family and whatever else you may be doing? And I think all of us have to play a part. And I think taking that responsibility as concerned citizens, we must. So with that, I'm just going to say this is a real honor, and I am deeply invested in ACT now. I also believe that, well, yeah, tomorrow, yes, you can't bank on tomorrow, but also when we wake up to tomorrow, tomorrow is the first day of the rest of our life. So let's make sure we leverage every opportunity that tomorrow offers us, and to live life like there is no tomorrow also. So make sure that, you know, you do whatever it is you have to do and keep building on that legacy. And I can see everybody in this room doing that. I'm very, very happy to warmly welcome my dearest brothers, Tariq and Rashid, who are doing some amazing work on the Civilizations Rights Institute. So a warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining really spontaneously. And my dearest brothers, Rajiv ji, J.K. Singh sir, and also Ronnie, thank you for welcoming all of us. I'll let Dr. Pachori share a few words, and then we'd love to hear more about the Civilization Rights Institute after that. So please.
Well, I think that climate change is the biggest public health crisis we are facing. And I come from the field of public health. And I find that there's very little information, very little research that was done in this area. So I put together a book on health and climate change, published by Elsevier Publishers, who are going to publish it in September. It will come out in September. And while I was doing that book, I realized that there was a real need for much more work. And people were very, very interested in this area. So I'm currently writing a second book along with Ash, editing a book, which is a second book on health and climate change, which is underway. So I think there's a great deal of work needed in this area. Research is needed. We did some primary research in Mexico on sargassum with Dr. Anorma's help. And she also contributed a chapter to the last book. We need to do much more research, secondary research as well as primary research, to move the agenda of health and public health and climate change forward. So with these few words, I'll just like to stop, and I'd like to ask Bhai to speak.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ash, and thank you so much, Saroj ma'am. I'm so grateful that you're here. Ronnie sir is here. I think he needs a bit of nap. So Ronnie sir, as long as you can stay awake, please be here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you can take a break off, because you have to join back after 6 hours for the closing ceremony. At the closing ceremony, we'll have Atul Bagai, who is UN head co-country office in India. He just took retirement on 31st March, but he'll be there with us. And current UN head, Mr. Mujahidul Alam, who is also the regional coordinator for UN in the South Asia region. He was traveling, so maybe he'll be joining online, or he will be meeting after 2 or 3 days. And I was just going to mention that just 2 books were launched by Dr. Ash, Small Steps and Big Impact. I have those on my Kindle, and Simple Steps to Sustainability. Exactly the kind of thing that the first read on the titles, I thought, I could have written it. So it was like something that we actually needed for the young guys. Because, last time when we were trying to get projects for this pop movement or pop and youth festival in February, that was the problem, because our education system is very strong, but unfortunately doesn't train us for things that we need in real life these days. So that is our exact effort. And I think we have been doing this with the students for almost 1 month. And possibly we'll be starting some summer workshop, some kind of workshop that actually train them up for real things, like not only the book is education.
Yes.
So I'm very happy to make at least 2 announcements. First of all, we approached the CBSE chief, which is the world's largest educational body. It has over 27,000 schools, both in India and abroad. So we met Mr. Himanshu Gupta, and we do some good work in Delhi also under the banner of Models for Barkhamba Road, because we train their teachers as well. So we were emphasizing that although these curriculums do have environmental component, they actually do not train students for things like that. So he was very happy, and he joined in the inaugural session. He was there today, and 2 impacts were immediately visible. First of all, they shot down a letter to all the schools just today itself, and they introduced that a lot of schools do summer camp in this absolutely hot conditions, but they must integrate environmental components in those summer camp. That is the letter as of today. And a few days back, because NEP, the new education policy, also incorporates a lot of focus on both environmental actions and environmental awareness and climate actions. So they will be focusing, and because we have been very critical of CBSE chief also, because I mean they are just teaching bookish education. Students work so hard. When it comes to doing things, they're completely at a loss. We are at a loss. Forget about them, and they have absolutely no clue where we are headed. As we speak now, Delhi is caught under heat wave. Not only Delhi, entire North India. The temperature shot up to 50 to 52 degrees centigrade. Right now, my air conditioner in the back, it's not able to work because even at this hour, 3 o'clock in the morning, temperature is around 34 degrees centigrade. So that is exactly the need of the hour. And third thing, announcement is very necessary because this year UNEP thought it worthwhile and they put our event on their calendar events list. So it has gone across. So the efforts are being recognized, and they must recognize unless every small individual on this planet starts contributing, starts getting this awareness and starts reflecting things in their own lifestyle, it is not going to be possible for all of us. So again, welcome both Ahmed and Tarek to this event. And
Rajiv, I will take a minute and I would leave. I need to take a break. It's been a long time.
I think I'll let Ronnie go.
Yeah, first of all, I need to say thanks to all the students. They've been taking care of the 5 hours straight. And I think I need to appreciate them a lot. And the reason they were late is not their fault, it's my fault, because I gave them a little bit break and playing in videos. I want them to stress them out because I knew they're looking at the screen for a long time. So I want them to have a breaks. So they don't want to take a break, but I told them, no, you better take a break because I don't want them to sit in looking at the computer for 5 hours straight. And I need to appreciate all of the students because you guys did a lot of work. And I seen you guys are more mature than us, compared to age-wise. It's the only thing that if you can make an action, I think together you can make the difference. Yeah. It's about the action. We know the awareness is there. Sometimes we don't do the action because of convenience, and we will say it's tomorrow. So please, I like your teamwork. Appreciate a lot. Thanks a lot, and sorry if I do any mistakes. And the team like Arya, Barminder, Mahi, really appreciate it a lot, and everyone in the team. Okay, so I need to take a break because I need to go to work soon. Okay, so.
Thank you, Ronnie. Goodbye and see you again.
Thank you, Ronnie. Wonderful work, really. And echo all your thoughts. God bless you.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, okay.
For non-stop, you are there, from school to whole night and handling this young generation. Thank you very much.
That's beautiful.
So, thanks, here.
Before we move on, we already showed our pop festival clippings twice or thrice during the festival because there's a summarized one for the entire festival clip, and we do have clippings on the work of POP and WSDF as well. But before that, we start proceedings and we get Abdullah and Tariq to share their work. I would want to show you a theme song that we composed for this event, and that is using AI. That music is composed by AI and lyrics also written by them. Obviously, we chose the words and then put the clipping. So we'll start with that. Can I request JK sir to play our theme song V1, track V1?
In a world so big, we often feel small, but together we can make a difference, standing tall. With every step we take, we're creating change, and now's the voice that echoes through the range. Rise up, let's make a stand for the earth and all its wonders. Hand in hand with the future, we hold the key. Together we can save the world, you and me. Ooh, yeah. world's so big, we're small, but together we can make a difference, standing tall. With every step we take, we're creating change, and now's the voice that echoes through the range. Rise up, let's make a stand for the earth and all its wonders. Hand in hand we're the future, we hold the key. Together we can save the world, you and me. Ooh, yeah. Through the power of knowledge, we're lighting minds, spreading the message, one student at a time. From mountains to oceans, we'll protect the land. With that now, united we'll make a stand. We'll make a stand. In a world so big, we're small, but together we can make a difference, standing tall. With every step we take, we're creating change, and now's the voice that echoes through the range. Rise up, let's make a stand for the earth and all its wonders. Hand in hand we're the future, we hold the key. Together we can save the world, you and me. Ooh, yeah.
So
Wow.
that is that is a song
Beautiful.
composed by us, and we have beautiful dances also performed by already the students. I think when we have time, we'll show that also. We are a little ahead, but there's one small dance that I would like to show you, performed by a kindergarten girl. So can I request JK sir to play V10? I think that will please Saroj ma'am especially.
Saroj ma'am is very worried since she's a public health practitioner that you don't sleep.
Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. EARTH, planet Earth is a happy place. EARTH, planet Earth is a happy place. Na 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 na. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. E is for environment, keep it clean. If we stand together, we'll make the best team. A is for the animals that we love, swimming and walking and flying above. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. R is for recycle or use it again. Separate your trash into the right bin. T is for traveling every day. Leave the car and rather walk this way. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. Let's see what we can do. Save the planet for me and you. H is for humans, that's what we are. If we
Brilliant.
That
Very
little
talented.
the paradox is like we all are grown as little babies, and then we do start doing all sorts of things in our life, trying to pursue careers, life, and for what end? To be just as happy, as free, like that little girl, away from all changes and challenges. So why not do it now? So
Beautiful.
I will hand it over to Dr. Ash to invite Tarek, introduce and invite Dr. Tarek and Rashid Ahmed to just share whatever they are doing it, and then maybe we'll add on. I was just Googling and I thought they are also into GIS and something like that. Is it? Spatial technologies?
No, this is my specialization, but what we're talking about today a little bit different than GIS. So the technology,
Yes,
I'm a
I mentioned that because we do have a very good friend of us, Tuomo Karanen from Argonaut, and his company in Finland started GIS and spatial technologies to help forestry in Finland way back in 1970s. So he was there in this afternoon also. He's been there with almost 15 years, and one of their new joinees is from a Sri Lankan girl who studies in the University of Eastern Finland. She'll be addressing us in about a few hours' time. So that's why, yes, I read it up and I thought it's a technical thing also. We also work with ISRO sometimes, Tim Crowther and Crowther Lab, which has provided this technology free of cost to NGOs and small workers like us. We can have access to such technology free of cost. So that's why I wanted to share it.
Thank you so much. And GIS actually is a big growing interest now in the Indian government. I have been in India for 4 years. I helped establish the International Master Program in Geoinformatics at Amrita University in Kerala. And I know there is a lot of interest, and we have been focused now on K-12 education. So teaching children from kindergarten to high school, GIS and spatial thinking. So that could be another side discussion. I don't want to ruin the event today, but yeah, that would be something that I can talk to you, Mr. Rajiv, on the side about that. That would be something that we even can introduce it for the, this is very good tool, especially when it comes to climate change, understand climate impact, and using mapping and, geospatial technology to see what's going on the ground. So that would be great to start actually even introduce this at the K-12 level in India. That would be a basic, so we can do something like that. So
thank you. I've also put on the screen Mrs. Aditi Basura. She is the principal of one of the schools which is participating in GRADS International. She is currently traveling in Brazil on a cool trip to Brazil, and I don't know, they are doing something environmental over there. So Aditi ma'am, thank you very much for joining right from Brazil. And one small sentence from you, then I'll hand it over to Tarek, because they've been waiting for such a long time.
Unmute. Yes, thank you so much. And it's really amazing to see this program today. And good to see Dr. Saroj Pachauri and Ash Pachauri again, you, JK, Ronnie, and new friends. It's very good too. I'm here for a conference in Baccaria University on sustainable development. And my friend Beatrice, Dr. Beatrice Lucia, she's doing an amazing job in this field in Brazil for sustainable development. And our president, Mr. S.K. Singh, he's also doing very good work here. So I'm here to present India. We are 3 of us from India here to represent the country in this conference. And it's also sustainability. I'll be sending you a report of this. And it's I'm very grateful to Rajiv ji and JK, my friends, to associate me, to connect me to this act now. And I'm sure I'll act now. And I'm vowed. My students you have seen my students speaking. My students have taken vow to act now. We promise to act now.
Okay, my team did tell that Aditi ma'am was messaging throughout the night, where are my students? They're not speaking. I said, of course, they will get an opportunity. So thank you so much. And their kids have worked very hard. So without delaying, I'll hand it over to Tarek. Please proceed.
Okay, so Ahmed, would you like to say something before I took 1 minute? Say hello to everybody.
I am only say hello from Cairo with civilization rights. And we are sure that civilization rights is something new as a word, but it's going to be like human rights, like the intellectual property rights, like women rights. It will take time. We are trying now to have this kind of seeds, and that's why the generation, which we have the young generation, we are sure that they are going to have the fruits in the future. It's going to be beyond our life. I will leave Tarek to explain the civilization right Institute. Thank you for everyone, and we need your support. And we are waiting for songs about civilization right, like the change in the next event. Hopefully, inshallah. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Ahmed. First of all, I don't know where to start. There are so many things. First of all, thank you so much, my brother Ash, for the introduction and give us actually teaching us about this opportunity and and send me the invitation. It's very impressive to participate in this Act Now event, and I was very impressed to learn about this 24 hours. I hope you guys are in Guinness record right now, or since you are the longest online event. And Dr. Suraj, it's always honored to see you. And Dr. Norma and Ivan, congratulations for the new president-elect. Very impressive to see a woman that is the first woman to be the president-elect of Mexico, and also coming from immigrants, parents, and also being a climate scientist. So like she is like, it's almost like hitting the jackpot, one person that sits so many ones here. So very impressive. And
Thank you,
secondly, I'd like to thank Mr. Rajiv for giving us this intervention, and congratulate all the students for the amazing work. I saw a couple of presentations when I joined an hour ago. Very, very impressive. And to see students, and I understand you guys are waking up so late. It's almost like 4 a.m. your time. So that's also impressive. I hope tomorrow you take some day off. And I just quickly about the Civilization Right Institute. So I was very impressed with the song, because it was saying taking one student at a time. And this is how the idea of the Civilization Right, literally, it has evolved over time, one person at a time. It started back as long as 1999 with one question about cultural appropriation. So my brother Ahmed, he went to visit me, and then we went to Las Vegas. And we saw something called Luxor, Las Vegas. And Luxor, if for those people who don't know, is the ancient Egypt, the name of the ancient capital of Egypt. So the idea is that a commercial property, especially, taking a casino and taking the name and actually taking the copyright of the name, that was a little bit shocking for us. And we were wondering how on earth something like this can happen ever. So he started, my brother, I give him the credit here. He started this on his own, writing papers and presenting this in different international conferences, the case of how the concept of copyright for culture. And whenever we talk about the culture, we think about it in terms of, the colonial, stealing from our heritage. I know that basically the British Museum, during the British colony of India, there have been a lot of stolen artifacts in the British Museum. I think there is diamond, but also there's too many forms from this, from a commercial entity taking the copyright of your culture, something like Luxor, or taking the folklore of some indigenous community, like what happened in Native American, or even in India. This came in the book that Dr. Suraj is publishing. The famous story of the biopiracy that took place in India a few years ago, when a pharmaceutical American company tried to take the plant name and take this, overtake this and basically uses this for its own commercial trade, while basically neglecting the right for the indigenous community. So when we started searching for this, we found that there is no actually international law that protects this cultural rights. So, and this is not only a cultural right, it's actually a manifestation of civilization. It is the identity of so many communities who lived throughout the years. And this is where the civilization right evolved from idea to declaration. So what civilization rights? We had a declaration that was issued several years ago, and I'll share the online documentation for you. And then we started the Civilization Right Day last year, and this June 10, next Monday, will be the second, honor observation of the Civilization Right Day. We're trying to raise awareness with this idea of what is civilization right, what does it mean, and how we protect the civilization right. But at the same time, also we're trying to think about mechanism in order to move forward with people understand what civilization right, but also protect civilization right. So moving from just being a cause to action. So very similar to what's going on, and actually it's very connected, because what we're trying to do is to get all the return, claim the right, and then use this right to help actually build resilience community in the original places where these artifacts belong to, whether in Egypt, in India, in Jamaica, and Mexico, or any other place in the world. So it is a very important topic, and we have started the Civilization Right Institute in 2022, so a little bit, almost 2 years ago, with the mission as nonprofit organization based in Virginia, USA, with a mission to raise awareness of the civilization right, explain the concept to many people, and also from, again, K-12 all the way to senior, and even having a UN day recognizing what is the concept of civilization right. And we are moving slowly, inspired by the pop movement. They have been our partners, so inspiring for us, our role model. And my brother Ash and all the team of the pop movement have been supporting us. Dr. Suraj gave us opportunity to write a chapter about our civilization right, and we invite everybody to participate in our Civilization Right Day on Monday. That will be 8:30 p.m. Indian time, so that was a good time for India. And I'm going to share with it will be 8 p.m. Sorry, not even 8:30, 8 p.m. 5:30 our time, 9:30 our time. I'm going to share the link for the Zoom registration event, and you are all welcome to attend. This will be announcement, doing several announcements. One is actually competition with good prizes, and also a membership for our institute. And Dr. Ash is going to actually give give intervention. We have other speakers from Yemen, from Jamaica, from Egypt, and from Italy, all providing some sort of intervention. So we invite all you to attend, and we hope you guys can also sign the declaration. I'm going to put these two links in the chat, and I invite all of you, please join us on Monday for the Civilization Right Day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rashid. Thank you so much. And we surely will be joining. I was in touch with Sameh Shokri, who was the Foreign Minister of Egypt, and he was COP27 president. He was supposed to be joining, but obviously these guys are very busy at the political level, so he couldn't join. Thank you very much for the invitation. We are looking forward to. I was thinking we'll be talking something about the GIS and spatial technologies, how that is integrative is completely different, and it's great because we have been telling these kids also, no matter what career, what life, what career choices you make, sustainability, environmental awareness, and climate action got to be at the core of your heart, because that is life. So thank you so much. And I'm wondering whether Ahmed also has to share something. Ahmed, what you please?
I already mentioned that I say hello from Cairo to everyone, and we are going to build together the idea of civilization rights, and we are sure that it is slowly but sure. It is almost now 20 years from 1999 when we started the idea, but now we already have this kind of declaration, and every day we have in two levels, from top down, sometimes with the governments and association or whatever, and the most important is the bottom up, with the students, with the kids, with everyone, from the public. And this is two levels. We are sure that we will come to a zone of realization. Even it's going to be probably beyond my life, but I'm sure that it's going to be now with the kids a reality. Because even if we think about even the intellectual property took 500 years, but we are not going to have this 500 years with all our partners and with all the other civilizations. We are sure that it's going to be within the coming, decade, something like that. And we are working for that. And we have many of the activities and the ideas. And again, with the support of you and the POP and everyone, and the civilization from the Mexico, from all different civilizations, we are sure that one a day, and it's not very far from now, that civilization right is going to be a day within the United Nations, as it's already being a day with the international community by the 10th of June after 4 or 5 days. That's our hope, and this is our belief, and we are trying all our best for that with you, inshallah.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you so much. And there's a lot of Indian interest as travelers to Egypt, because I've been signing a lot of visa request applications. The students are visiting Egypt and Cairo. Obviously,
one of the things which we are going to establish to visit Egypt, what's so-called civilization right tourism, that you are going to visit the places which is already being looted from every place. You are going to visit the original place for Rosetta Stone, the original place for Cleopatra or Nefertiti or whatever, which is already in all the museums. We need it, one of the civilization rights ambitions, that the original places are, not only crying, they need the return. Even we are first going to have the civilization right as a concept, and then after preparing the place to accommodate the originals for their place, this is again what we so-called is going to happen. Even we have the climate change with civilization rights, with the sustainable development, with the 17th already, United Nations, all will work together. And again, with human rights and with intellectual property. So civilization rights is missing with all this, and this is going to complete the picture. And we are sure that all of you are going to understand it, because I just returned from India and I already spread it with my colleagues there, and they understood and believed it. And by the way, they have 52 nations from different, from Africa, whatever. And we all agreed that there is something called civilization right is missing, even by UNESCO or ECOMOS or ECOROM or ECOMS, or even the colonized, situation by laws, which is still need for us to have a discussion. If any place, any heritage have been, looted or been taken, it's from the original place. It's crime or not? By all means, in any heritage, in any place of the world, in any time, even it's going to be a gift, and you take it from the original place, and they have the original place. And we said that by law that is now after 1960, 1970, it is something which we so-called, it is belongs now to the museums, and other things are not illegal. So this is kind of blah, blah. It is similar like when at a day of time when Abraham Lincoln said that there is no slavery anymore. I know it takes time. After that, with Martin Luther King, I'm saying that it's have many ideas which we are going to discuss together. Don't let me say more than that because we'll have all the night. That's enough for me now. But again, we are sure that we are going to have our days, our things. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And return back to everything in a very, romantic way. And sometimes have this kind of, once you ask me to talk, I will not stop anymore.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you so much. And you can send a second invitation. We'll certainly take a group of students and visit Egypt for sure. Because what you just narrated,
and we're happy to have all of you on Monday. So please.
I have some very good friends in Egypt, and we're talking to them how to bring in a little culture tour of Egypt. Not only the touristic tours, but really culture tour of Egypt, when they actually get to know people and places like that. Because what we hear of countries through the politicians, through the newspaper, through the media, which only portrays country either in a bad or good shape. And I have been lucky enough to be able to travel to so many countries. And wherever you go, people are the same. Requirements, their needs, their desires, their hope, everything's literally the same. So that's one thing. And what you just narrated hits also at our core tagline, which we use as an act now. When we talk about environmental sustainability and sustainable development, for us, it means environmental, economic, social, and cultural strong roots. You cannot have sustainable development unless you're environmentally strong, you're economically strong, you're socially strong, you're culturally strong. Unless you put the four factors together, you can't have environmental sustainability. So that exactly you wrote in a very nice facet of culture sustainability that we need at this hour of time. So thank you so much for being with us. And I had to ask because Dr. Norma is waiting for her turn to make her
just 1 or 2 minutes, because my friend Beatrice, Professor Dr. Beatrice Lucia Salvador Brizetto, she wants to say something about this. She's so impressed. She's been listening with me, and she's a professor in Brazil. She wants to say something. And before that, I want to say that it's very good Rajiv sir connect us too, because on human rights with Soli Sorabji, Mrs. Zina Soli Sorabji, we are working on human rights. So I'll be very happy to Rashid sir and connect to them. And because that's a really need for the moment, working for the civilization rights. That's very important. So and there's a book called Right to Be by Zina Soli Sorabji for children. That's a very nice book to read, Right to Be. Now to Beatrice, ma'am, Professor Beatrice.
Obrigado, boa noite aqui do Brasil, bom dia para vocês. Parabéns pela excelente conferência que vocês vocês estão organizando, tema muito importante para os estudantes, muito importante para os professores, pesquisadores, e muito obrigado a Diti, né, a Ditima que está aqui do meu lado, que veio para o Brasil para visitar, me conhecer mais, especialmente no Brasil, e para a conferência, a segunda conferência internacional sobre educação e sustentabilidade, que vai ser o dia 6 e 7 aqui em Vacaria, no Rio Grande do Sul, Brasil. Então, é uma conferência muito importante também para a sustentabilidade e a educação. Muito obrigada a vocês e é uma honra estar aqui no programa de vocês junto à escola da DIT, tendo a DIT aqui no Brasil também e o SK.
Oh, English.
Obrigado.
Okay. 1 minute, English.
English.
Act now.
Oh my God.
English.
Thank you very much for inviting me here the excellent program in your school. I am very happy for Aditi here in Brazil. Thank you very much for the opportunity about the conference in Vacaria, Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil, and to 6 and 7 days and next week. Thank you very much.
You also say act now.
Act now.
Act now.
Act now.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Thank you so much. And we do have a environment online school in Brazil. I was in Brazil twice, first during Rio conference in 2012, where SDG was mooted upon. And then before that, we'll talk about it a little later on because we are overshooting. So thank you so much for connecting from Brazil. And it's a lovely city. The first time I went to Sao Paulo, we couldn't go there because it was all military and armed police that had occupied the city. But second time, it was very free and very open. And it's a lovely place to be there. So, Dr. Norma, over to you.
Thank you so much, Brother Rajiv. And my brothers, Tariq Bhai and Ahmed Bhai, thank you very much. Dr. J.K. Singh, sir, and Barminder, thank you. And I know Ronnie needed to go to bed, but let me hand over to Dr. Norma and Manu Ivan. Barminder, hi.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rajiv. Thank you for your kind invitation. And of course, I am very happy to hear the kids with the projects. They are amazing, like always. I remember when they were in India, some of them maybe, they were exactly the same presenting projects, and they were really something special. Well, this time I would like to speak about what we do and what we do to help also youth and to work together with them. Not only in projects. I think that Dr. Raj was talking about education, and for us, or for me also, education is a key. It's a key that we can, it's a tool that we can give to the youth to fight against climate change, against global warming, and against human behavior, because a big part of the problem that we are facing now is what we did to the planet. And I will tell the youth, the kids, that they need to follow their dreams. They have certainly dreams. They want to be something. They want to do something. They want to protect something else. And I think that the dreams are very important. Doesn't matter if on the way the dreams are changing. They need to keep going and going and going all the time, because you need to change, or sometimes the situations force you to change, or your direction or your ideas to take another ones. I remember I was when I was a kid, like the faces that I am looking now, I wanted to study physics and mathematics. And finally, I am a biologist. I went to the high school in physics and mathematics, to the bachelor also. But on the way, my dream to be a physics and mathematics student was out, and I decided to study biology. And I am very happy to change my decision at that moment. I work on marine science, and I will like to tell them that if they change on the way, It's not a problem. Today, I want to show you, because the tagline of the meeting today is tomorrow never comes, and act now. That is true. We cannot wait until tomorrow. We need to do something now, because tomorrow will be too late. Too late for everybody. Too late for the planet, too late for the biodiversity, too late for ourselves. And I think that is a must that we need to do together. I will show you three examples of what we are facing now in the world, in some part of the world. One of them is related to biodiversity protection. That is a beautiful example that I had in my WhatsApp. Somebody sent it to me, and it was a really amazing example from somebody who was on the beach looking and watching and taking some kind of holidays. Since a little more than 13 years ago, he started to protect the hermit crabs. Maybe you know, because you live, some of you, close the coast, and you're going to see the video that is amazing. The second example that I'm going to give you is sargassum. The sargassum, the macroalgae that the Dr. Saroj Pachori was talking a few moments ago, that we are working together, that is macroalgae that is arriving in a massive way to the Caribbean region and the Caribbean, Mexican Caribbean. And that is a result of the global warming, the climate change, and the changes that we are facing into the ocean waters. And the third one is something that people maybe is not thinking about that, or maybe is not aware about that is microplastics. Maybe you don't know that people now is eating with the food, is taking in their body, in our body, because everybody that is eating is incorporating microplastics. I will give you some numbers, some countries that are the first in the world that some of the people is taking something like 13 grams per month in microplastics in the body. And that is a result of scientific study. It's not like people is telling somewhere. They made a study in the Cornell University in the US, and I will tell you a little later. Rajiv, if you want to send me, please, the videos in the way that they are going out, and I will speak about that. Maybe
Okay.
the only one is
Yes.
the hermit crab that has a
JK sir,
voice.
can I request you? We had sent few videos from Dr. Norma. Which one to present first?
Tell me.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Okay.
See,
In any order.
I'm having 3 video and 1 picture. So
Any order.
The video and the picture, you can put it together, because the picture is very nice. It's something like
I'll put picture first.
kids
Okay.
they will like, and I like it very much. Well, this is a picture that say everything is in Spanish, but I'm sure that you will understand.
You see the picture?
It's somebody who is cleaning his small piece of land, and the text is, maybe I cannot clean the world, I cannot change the whole world, but I can change the small piece of land that I have. That is true. Maybe we cannot do everything. Maybe I cannot go to the whole Caribbean region to change the situation with the macroalgae, the sargassum, but it's true. We need to act local to have an impact in a global way. We need to work and to act individually and to invite the community. And in that way, we can take more and more and more space around the world. Thank you. That's very simple. It's very easy to take a look. Take a look of this. That is really something
Mientras
that
caminaba por una playa en Okinawa, Japón, Shawn Miller presenció una escena desalentadora. Un pequeño cangrejo ermitaño avanzaba penosamente con un plástico usado como caparazón. Conmovido por esta imagen, Shawn decidió actuar, buscando en su bolsa caracolas para ofrecer un hogar adecuado al adorable cangrejo, quien, tras un breve momento de indecisión, escogió una concha nueva y se mudó de inmediato. Este acto marcó el comienzo de Make the Switch for Nature, un proyecto iniciado en 2010 que hasta la fecha ha ayudado a más de 5.000 cangrejos a regresar a viviendas naturales, sustituyendo plásticos por caracolas marinas donadas. Además, cada concha lleva un mensaje positivo y un número de seguimiento grabados a mano, inspirando a quien los descubre a reflexionar sobre la importancia de proteger a estos seres esenciales para el equilibrio costero. Los cangrejos ermitaños, al cambiar de hogar, dejan atrás menos plástico en las playas, contribuyendo así al cuidado del ecosistema. La labor de Shaun no solo es restaurar la dignidad de estos animales, sino que también promueve el reciclaje y el respeto por la vida marina. Para más información sobre cómo puedes apoyar
Thank you, Rajiv. Well, this video you can see that is a person who was walking on the beach. He found that this crab was walking with a plastic that you can find all over the beaches, even in the region where I work, that is the beautiful Mexican Caribbean. You can find all kind of plastics, and that is horrible to see that nature and animals are suffering with this kind of situation. No more shells. They use the plastic that they find on the beaches. And that is something that we cannot accept, and something that we can work on it. And of course, act now. And the other two, you can put it together. I mean, one and then the other one, because you can see the real situation in the Caribbean with the sargassum. This is the Caribbean region in Mexico. Everything what you see there, the big spot, of course, that what you can see the main is sargassum, the macroalgae that is already on the beaches, and the spot that you see in the water, that is like a carpet of sargassum that is arriving to the beaches. In 1 kilometer long, you can get per day 2 tons of sargassum. Take a look how it's moving. That is incredible. That is something that I feel so sad, because you can see the beaches are white. The beaches, we are losing beaches. We are losing the coastal line in that area. Look, the houses, they are already close to the sargassum is close to the houses. We are losing a lot of beaches all along the coastal area in Quintana Roo State, Mexico. And this is right now. This video is from yesterday that the colleagues sent it to me, and you can see how horrible it is. Look, all the brown that you see between the blue, the coastal area, and the sand, that is sargassum. That is the macroalgae. And you can see that is thousands of tons. Behind you have the tropical forest, beautiful area, also impacted by other situations. The hot weather is also damaging the coral reef, and acidification of the ocean, and the temperature of the surface, the water surface, is also affecting the coral reef in that area. And the second one is almost the same, but here you can see the way that this carpet of sargassum in the water has more or less 1.5 to 2 meters deep. You cannot swim, you cannot go inside. That is really a dramatic situation that started again this year. We didn't have sargassum from January until March. April started to arrive, and now this is the situation. Really impressive. we're still working, because it's not only the problem with the beaches and the environment that is suffering, it's also people, because this orgasm is producing some gases, and when the people is taking out this orgasm to put it in land, they are breathing all these gases that are methane, hydrogen sulfide, and ammonia. And we are facing problems, health problems, that we are studying also together with Dr. Sarosh. And the last example that I don't have any pictures or video is the microplastic that I was talking to you. And this study is telling us that the countries where they consume, they have incorporated in their body 13 grams per month are Indonesia and Malaysia. But you have another source of microplastics, that is the atmosphere, the air that we are breathing in the cities, and the cities where you have the most important problem with the air is United Kingdom, is also Asia, in some countries like China, of course, and that is a big problem. But somebody is asking, how is possible to say that we are taking 13 grams per month in microplastics? Well, the study is taking into account what we eat. The study, they made it in 109 countries around the world. What we eat, if we eat some food with technological process, the age of the people, and of course, what we are breathing, because you know that in every country you should have air pollution, certainly, and the amount of pollution is very high. Those examples are something like you need to think about it. You need to walk in your cities, in your states, in your country, and you need to find what is going on, what is the problem, and to take that problem in your hands. You are very young people, but I insist, we have people that can help us, help you in POP to really mentor you if it is needed, and you will have a lot of action, and you will get a lot of results, and you're going to be happy when you arrive to my age. I think that that is what I wanted to tell you, to show you that, yes, this is a real problem we are facing, and we are working on it as a scientist, as a professors, as a human beings, because we are worried about what is going on in the world. Thank you so much, Rajiv. Thank you, Pop. Thank you, Tarek and Hadmet, and also Ivan, that is coming back and now is after me. Thank you so much, Rajiv.
Thank you, Dr. Norma. I'm so grateful that for the entire POP family, ACNOW family, you always make yourself available, and you have such wonderful things, not only technical, but you make it so interesting with the young kids also to understand. I am hoping that one of the kids would want you to ask a question, because Dr. Norma has worked extensively in Mexico. She was the advisor to climate change to the president of Mexico, and herself is a oceanographer with a PhD in biology and marine sciences. So she has a huge repertoire of experience, technical experience, and environmental experience, and she's a very loving, kind person. So anybody wants to put up a question to her, I don't know whether they will be able to ask, because these kids have been working up entire nights. But in any case, you have 5 minutes. Otherwise, I have Ivan Ransom, the most handsome man in the entire conference from Mexico. So I'll hand it over to you. So anyone, any student, anybody, you can ask any question. It can be a very small question also.
One of the kids there.
I think Arna Bhatia wants to ask a question. Yes, he's a very sweet kid from Delhi, NCR.
Thank you, sir. Greetings, ma'am. Ma'am, I am Arna Bhatia from, I'm a student of grade 8 from the modern school ECNCR. And my question to you is, How do you balance economic development with environmental conservation? And what are your thoughts on the role of technology in solving environmental problems?
So, Dr. Norma, before
Well,
you answer that technical question from Arna, I must tell you that last year we had annual exhibitions in this school and we focused on sustainability. So, Arna was responsible for making cupcakes matching the colors of 17 SDG goals. So, they say 17 colored cakes were there. So,
yeah, yeah.
please.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Anna. Well, look, I think that we need to have a balance between environment and development. I always say, as a biologist, that you don't have any project that has zero impact. It's not possible. That is not that I am against the developers or against the companies. No, I think that we have a work to do to say, yes, you can make this development, but you need to take care of this. If I want to build up an hotel in a coastal area, of course, I need to take how to clean the water, how to manage the waste, how to build the hotel, how many people you can put inside regarding the resources that you have in the area. And if we talk about technology, we fight with sometimes with the technology because they want to twist a little the technology to say, okay, we can do it. Don't worry, we can do it. And that is happening with the sargassum. The sargassum has a lot of arsenic. Okay, and that is very toxic for human. And they want to make bricks and shoes and notebooks and a lot of things. And we say, okay, you cannot take out the arsenicum from the species, from the macroalgae. Not like this. It's a very expensive methodology and it's not worth it because you will put more money in something that will not be useful. Then we need to take care with technologies too, but that is also a balance. What is good, what is not good, how we can change. And in that way, I think that you, at this moment, you have wonderful ideas. Really, you is I didn't do that when I was a kid. When I saw this little girl dancing and moving and chanting, I said, "Oh my God, I want to be a child again." You see, that is you are very open, you are very intelligent, and your question is very important. A balance. You need to think always about the balance. Don't say no, because everything is possible. And if you are there helping people to do that development, is much better because you're going to be sure that they will listen to you and the impact will be, if not zero, at least the minimum. That answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I'm in Papi if you want to send me a message.
Dr.
Dr.
Norma
Rajiv knows, yes, yeah.
and Ivan, this time you came to Delhi, it was not enough time. So next time you're traveling here, make yourself ample time. Because sometimes it's very boring to fight climate change and environmental awareness in your own backyard. So maybe we can go to Mexico and fight climate change there, and maybe you can
You're
come
welcome.
and fight our own
You're
climate.
welcome. I told you we will arrange everything for your kids to go to Mexico. For sure.
And same time, when you come here, just have some ample time because I think this time you did not have enough time to spend. I mean, you just had to involve with the conference and you had to go back.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you so much. I think I will hand it over to Ivan now. Dr. Norma, as always, if you want to stay on, please, I'll be very happy to have you around and the students will be asking questions to you also. But I'll hand
Thank
it
you,
over to Ivan
Rajiv.
because
You can send me the question that the little girl Shambabi wanted to make by WhatsApp, by WhatsApp, by the chat, and I
Sure.
will answer her.
Sure.
You want to write down your question in the WhatsApp, in the chat.
Sure.
Thank you.
I think she can go ahead and make the question if it's fine for you. I don't mind. And it's like this event, I think the main audience is youth. So I think it's good to have her question answered.
Thank you, Ivan.
That's fine.
Thank you.
So I suggest, friends, I'll hand it over to Ivan, but you can ask question. Dr. Norma is staying back for a few minutes more. can ask question. We'll take up the question as the proceedings go on. We'll interrupt the session and we'll take the questions. So, Ivan, over to you. Maybe I would
Thank you
request
so
you
much.
to do a bit of introduction for the new kids who have joined in, kind of work you do, especially with resilience and some very nice initiatives that you have taken in Mexico, in other parts of the world also. Just brief them up a little bit on it, and then you can proceed.
Thank you so much. Actually, this is the beginning of an invitation for the youth to join POP, and I can tell you like my story and what's like the path that I had to cross to arrive to where I am now. And I'm not only speaking about here in this event, but also in this spot in my life. So, you know, biology is a really difficult field to get a job in Mexico at least, because there are many things that need to be changed. And hopefully, well, the current president has a lot of expectations on her hands. So hopefully that she can make a change. But well, anyways, the thing is, I had no job by this time. I will follow a little bit in Dr. Norma's example. So I applied for a company that makes environmental impact assessments, and they asked me like, how long will it take to make, or how long should a proper an environmental impact assessment take for us, or how long will it take to you if you're working with us, if we hire you? And I told them that at least it should take 3 years, because so in order to make the biologist kind of part in an environmental impact assessment is that you need to make like a list of the flora and fauna and different species that are in certain region where the project or development is going to happen, so that you can say, hey, there's this animal maybe at risk of extinction, or no, there's no really any endangered species in here. So that will make changes or not in the planning of the project. The thing is, I told them that in order to make, if there are no prior knowledge on this area, if there are no prior studies, scientific studies of that area, they should take at least 3 years, because it's not all. These companies usually make them like in, let's say, 2 months, 3 months, but that's not even like a year has, at least in Mexico, has 4 seasons. So the species that you are going to find in spring are completely different than those that you are going to find in winter. And if you are doing the list of species in January, February, is going to be way different than in August, September. So, and also, if you are considering like migratory species, things like this, or those who appear every 2 or 3 years, or even more, it can take some species decades to appear, like the cicadas. The thing is, I told them, in order to make this right, it should take 3 years. And they were like, no, like 3 months is more than enough to make this list. And probably you're not going to be of use for us, because this is not going to be like economically feasible for us to wait for you 3 years until you have the full list, so that we can make this project go on. The thing is, because of this, this approach, which is in my honest way of thinking, the best possible approach in order to make these developments, I was not going to change this, and I was not going to lie and to make these environmental impact assessments in 3 months just to get a job. No, like the conservation of species is way more important. And yeah, in the end, I didn't get a job. The thing is, I didn't have a job, but fortunately, that is because as I didn't have a job, I learned about the World Sustainable Development Forum, which happened in Durango, Mexico, which is my hometown. And this was organized by the pop movement. and WSDF. So I went there and I met Dr. Ash, Dr. Norma, the Pop family, and I fell in love with what they're doing. I used to feel so hopeless before I met them. Like no one cared about the world, no one was doing anything, and there was like little to no hope to begin with. That's the reason why I didn't get the job, because people were prioritizing money or economic returns over the environment. But then I knew the pop movement and how like the huge commitment they have with the environment, with doing the things the right way. And not only with the environment, but also like making this huge bet since Dr. Erke Pachori's own words when he said that youth is the change is going to come through the youth, and youth is the ones who needs like to be supported and promote their actions. So, well, the thing is, I learned about the pop movement in that time, but also I could have the opportunity to reconnect with Kevin Morales, which is the co-founder of Resilience 2020, the circular economy company that he and I created. The thing is, in that forum also, I met him in there. We reconnected. We used to be students in the same university, but we never talked. We were not classmates. We had a friend in common only, and it was because of this this event in Durango that we met again. He's brilliant to do like to get money. He's brilliant with finance, with these management skills. He has them on point, and he's really good at getting money, finding money, funds, and that is like my weak spot. I'm really bad at getting money, not even for the work that I have done already. So, but I'm also really good at creating and developing conceptually projects and ideas, and that's how we. And this is so important. We made team, and we generated this initiative using his strong points, which will cover my weak spots, and vice versa. So we ended up developing this. This is Resilience 2020. One of the things that happened right after the World Sustainable Development Forum, it was in 2020. For sure, this date makes some sense. It was the pandemics. So right after this event happened, the pandemics started worldwide. Or well, worldwide it was known because it started before. And Kevin and I were looking for a way into which people could get funds and could like have a way to sustain themselves without leaving the safety of their homes. We didn't know how long it was going to take for people to be in quarantine. And this means being in home, not being able to go outside to work. And we needed to do something about it to bring hope for people that was in a way trapped in their homes. And that is for people that could actually have the privilege of staying in their homes when the pandemic was going, because many people couldn't. They either go out and look for a job and to keep doing their economic activities that they do, or they wouldn't be able to like pay for the services or even eat. And the thing is, we came up with this Resilience 2020, which is a circular economy initiative. What we do is we install 5 eco technologies for free in the homes of people. We don't charge a single cent to them. So on one hand, they can gain autonomy because they're going to, well, okay, so the 5 eco technologies are biodigester, water catchment system, greenhouse, compost, and I usually miss one. Sorry. Solar heater. Yeah. So the thing is, by installing these eco technologies, we facilitate that homes are now more autonomous, so they can produce their own food. They can replace. That's another important point. They can replace natural gas by the gas produced by the biodigester, and also through the heat produced by the solar heater. This way, they won't be like depending on the fossil fuels, in this case, to take a shower, for cooking, etc. And they are also going to be like giving a best use for the organic waste, which is also a problem, at least in countries like Mexico. Organic waste is a problem, not only like about the management of it, but also like how it impacts people that are in poverty, that they go to the open spaces where they put the trash on and they are looking for some valuable things, or separating things so that they can recycle them. The thing is, these people who are the most vulnerable are also the most exposed to the thousands of illnesses that can come from the decomposition of organic waste, which ends up in the landfills. So we developed this strategy in a way that we install the eco-technologies for free for them. They're going to be producing products and sub-products, which we are going to be buying from them, like the bile, which is an organic liquid fertilizer. We buy it from the homes, and then we sell it to farmers. So they're going to be using now organic fertilizer instead of the synthetic one, which also year by year is going to be increasing its value, its price, because fossil fuels are not a renewable source. And as the time passes by, this is a resource that is more and more expensive. So through this is only like food waste being after the decomposition process by anaerobic bacteria. We get the bile, which is this organic fertilizer. So farmers can now depend on a source that is not going to increase the price, at least not our bile, is not going to increase the price. And we are also selling them at a competitive price, exactly at the price of the cheapest synthetic fertilizer in the market. So this way, people can transition pretty much, well, by free to organic production. This is going to be healthier for them and also more profitable for them, because they can now sell organic products instead of regular synthetic fertilized products. And also for people who is consuming that, but also in the agricultural lands, they won't be using this amount of agrochemicals. The soils are saturated by nitrates and stuff that later on, with rains and stuff, there's this runoff of nutrients, which also contaminate the water streams, the underground water, etc. So, and well, after these people are producing organic products, we buy them. This is also by choice. It's not necessarily, but we buy for the ones who want to be part also in this part of the circular economy system of the farmers. We buy them and sell these products also in the cities. This way, farmers are going to get the full amount of the earnings, because usually in Mexico, middlemen are the ones who are most benefited from the work of the farmers. In this way, farmers are getting the full amount for their products, for their work, and we are also securing that these products are going to end up in the market and not in a wasteland, landfill. Sorry, because many of the products of the farmers, if they don't manage to sell them, they're going to rot. Let them rot in the fields, because it's more expensive for them to go to the city, try to sell them, and not achieving that, than to just let them rot in the fields. So we are like kicking all of these problems at once with our circular economy system. And it's really important to say that all of this was possible because of the pop movement, not only because we met at the WSDF that they organized, but also because at the beginning it was just Kevin and me, which we are both biologists. He also has a little bit more experience in management, but not that much. I mean, we were just two biologists. And through Pop's family, they help us to do like some videos, to start doing some promotionals for our company. And in the end, well, it has been growing. It is helping families right now. We have installed, in different homes, and the system is like, on one hand, free for them, and on one hand is generating all of these cascade benefits for everyone. And also, this system allows us, because we are, as an example, for the gas consumption, I'm going to finish really fast. For this gas consumption, they usually pay certain fee monthly, depending on the amount of gas that they are using. But in this case, as they are not going to be using this gas, we are asking them to pay us like 80% of their usual fee for gas. So they can have this 20% reduction in their costs. And this 80%, we use it for, what's the word? Like to get more eco technologies for other home and for our home. And this is like a replicable and scalable system that we have been working on. So this is an invitation for you to join, to celebrate the differences, the diversity, and to also connect with people that think different from you, that have different likes or hobbies. Like, diversity enriches the experience of life of people. And my final comment probably is going to be this. Right now, 10% of all the human beings that have ever lived in this planet are alive. Right now, the 10% of the humanity is alive. And it's not only this, but you have, as youth, more than ever, the power to not only reach these people through like social media, through internet, but also you have the voice. Youth has never had the power that it has today. And it's also going to just increase as the time passes by. You're going to have more and more power, and youth is using it in a really, in a way that gives me hope, actually. Youth are more and more aware of the climate effects of their actions, and sustainability, green businesses are increasing their numbers also, because people are more conscious about their decisions. So you have the decision to make a change. You have the power to make a change, an unprecedented power that youth has never had. So use this power, but also it's really important that back up your decisions, your initiatives with knowledge, with science. It's really important, because sometimes people can have a really great intentions, but what they ended up doing may also have caused some troubles. I can tell you like this example. Some time ago in Mexico, there was this word-to-word like initiative that when you go to the highway, throw the seeds of the fruits that you're eating. This way you're going to have a lot of fruit trees in the highways. So you're going to be contributing to planting some trees, and these fruits are going to also be good for the people that is passing by, for the animals, and in paper or in a just good willing idea, that's something good that comes from a good intention, but also that can have enormous environmental impact, like these exotic species invasion in natural areas, maybe some diseases that they're bringing in the seeds by fungi, by bacteria, etc. So, if possible, base all your initiatives or also in science, in knowledge, and approach those who know also, and learn a lot, study a lot. This is going to take you to places that you are not aware of. Yes, please, Shambhavi.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sir. I wanted to ask you that what is that one thing which inspires you all the time to continue the good work, and which inspires you to do more and more each time?
You know, my initial motivation was and has always been to protect animals. Like, since I was a little kid, I loved dinosaurs, and my love for nature. I was also really close nature in my upbringing. So I can tell you that since the beginning, I have had this will to do something for them. I have also seen like these changes of climate change affecting in the my community, in the forest also that I used to visit. In my hometown, it used to snow when I was little, and decades since it last snowed there. That is what brought me to this place, but also, well, specifically replying to your question, what inspires me? To be honest, what inspires me on a daily basis is Dr. Ash. He is a source of light for everyone, and he, in many ways, have saved my life, and he gave me hope. And seeing how hard he works every day, since it's still dark, he goes up and and starts working, and also into the late hours of the night. He's working so tirelessly for the youth, for people, for making this change that he wants to see in the world. That what inspires me on a daily basis.
Thank you so much, sir.
And very quick question, Arna. Welcome, Pratiksha madam. Your student has been working for past 24 hours. Pratiksha madam is the principal for her school from Shambhavi. And welcome to this program. You have a small sentence to make. She disappeared all of a sudden. So Arna, can you go ahead and ask your question to Ivan, because you are beautiful guest
Yes, sir.
from Venezuela, Ricardo.
Greet, sir. Greetings, sir. Sir, I am Arna Bhatia, a student of grade 8 from the Modern School, Delhi. So my question to you is, do you think that the government is doing enough to give importance to the environmental issues? And do you think you can work with policymakers and government officials to advance environmental causes?
Okay, so I can tell you this about speaking about the government in Mexico. The previous one didn't do much really for the environmental cause. Actually, the opposite. It was really difficult to see many decisions, high-level decisions that were made that were against environment, against biodiversity. But also, things can still happen. I also saw many people, youth initiatives, leading the way into conservation. And I could also see how, as the time passes by, more people are interested into these kind of fields. And this is putting a pressure, unprecedented pressure in the government to take the right decisions. And if something is going to happen that people don't want to, now they have a voice, and they can raise that voice. And now, like with these law initiatives that can also come from people, this is really important for you to also be aware of. The community can also like create or make these suggestions for changing the laws. So if there's something in the law that you think should change, go for it and gather with people, because this is really important. Just one voice of one person is going to be difficult to reach where they should to make a change. But if you are into a community, then this is by far like really, really possible. So yeah, this is also an invitation, and I also want to thank you, especially you, all the youth, for being awake at this time, and also just say reducing meat consumption is one of the best things that one can do for the environment, and India is the country doing that the most. It is the country with percentage and with amount of people more vegetarians and vegans. So congratulations for your country for this contribution to the planet. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for answering my question.
Thank you, Anna, so much. Thank you for being here tonight. And you got to stay on with lots of coffee for next 7 hours more, because you got to finish off the sessions. Okay. So thank you, Ivan. That's some very nice introduction from somebody who I admire a lot, especially from the young brigade. And I now have Ricardo is joining from Venezuela right away. Ricardo, I put it up on your screen. Wait a second. I also have Emmanuel from Ghana. Yes, give me a second. Yes, Ricardo, over to you.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yes,
Everything all
loud
right?
and clear.
Yes. Wonderful. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Should I introduce
And
you, or you will do your own introduction to these young kids, especially because they will connect with you the kind of work you do?
oh, well, you can introduce me, but I'd be happy to do so.
I know so much about you. Ricardo is best at communications. He's a communication specialist. He's a journalist. He works for the sustainable development from UNAM, and he lives in a very beautiful place, Valencia and Venezuela. And we are waiting when he invites us all to Venezuela because we need global protection over there. And these young kids also to go and experience one of the countries on this planet which is perfectly, I mean, it's rich with culture, heritage, and natural heritage,
Yes.
marred by politics, but I think that is also improving these days a lot. And Ricardo is right in the middle of it. Last time I remember, he showed me around the camera whatever he was around his house and something like that. So, Ricardo, over to you. And I think these young students, they are also tired and they've been working all night, but they have certain questions from you. Over to you.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Hello, Barmende. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm very happy to be here. And if I'm not sure if I have the permission to share my screen.
Yes.
I
Can
think
we
I
make
do.
Ricardo co-host?
Yes, you can, Ricardo, you can.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So I'm going to share my screen right now and start my presentation. After I finish, I will share with you a documentary that I record in collaboration with the Arturo Michelena University, which is a private university here in Carabobo, one of the most important universities in the country, actually. And I'm going to be speaking about climate education and social segregation. You know, I love to speak about my country, and I always find ways to, start deepening into the topic of climate action, climate education, but also in the context of Venezuela, which is a very, very complex context. It's a very beautiful country, of course, but we are still facing what it's actually one of the largest, greatest, biggest crisis of the world right now. And if I start, so I'm going to be speaking about when climate education encounters social segregation. And I'll be using the case study of the Meraki Foundation, which is a foundation that I've been supporting since some years ago, and it's currently 4 years. It just turned 4 years this very year. So before I start, I would like to put you into context about my country. And Venezuela is the 11th most biodiverse country in the world. Actually, we are one of the 17 most mega diverse countries in the world. We have around 1,400 bird species endemic to Venezuela. We also have a vast majority of green lawns, which share a great part of the Amazon rainforest. We have, for instance, the highest waterfall in the world, which is El Salto Ángel. But on the other hand, we are the first country in the world that lost all of its glaciers. And in 2018, people were saying that Venezuela was going to be the first country on the world to fully experience the consequences of climate change. Now we know that's not true. For instance, I know the temperatures in India are reaching very, very dangerous peaks right at the moment, and not only Venezuela. I think all the countries are reaching, the highest temperatures ever recorded right now. But we are the first country in the world that lost all its glaciers, and just in 4 years, we lost almost 50% of the last one we had. We used to have 6 glaciers. Now it's only Del Pico Humboldt. That's the last one. It's right now like 0.4% of what it used to be. So the climate situation in Venezuela is very urgent right now. But I also want to say that we hold the world's largest proven crude oil reserves of the world, which is around 300 billion. We double any other country in terms of resources, and at the other hand, some people in the with a capitalist mind will think that having the world largest crude oil reserves in the world is actually a good thing, but in terms of climate, it is not. And in terms of social segregation, in terms of equity, it is not. The reason is just in the last year, there occurred approximately like 80 oil spills. So just like 2 years ago, we were actually in a very, very crisis when one of these oil shipments was about to sink in the Caribbean Sea and actually compromise all the islands. Hopefully, it didn't happen, didn't occur. But the reality is that this version that we are most renowned in the world, it's it's like a blade, because the truth is that while Venezuela is one of the richest countries in terms of resources because we have a lot of them, we are also one of the poorest country in the world. We're actually poorer than IT. And right now, approximately 90% of the population lives in extreme poverty, so which means food insecurity. It means people don't have access to to formal education. People don't have access to water, clean water. People live in very, very vulnerable situations right now. And as my focus today is going to be on education, I also want to share that even in some states, it's the 99% of the population. Just for instance, the Amazonas, it's basically where there's the greatest part of the Amazon rainforest, the Amazonas state. 99% of the population is in extreme poverty. And not only that, but it's actually housed to many, many indigenous communities. So just to put into context, the Venezuela situation is very, very concerning. This year situation, political context, social context, poverty actually lead to my country to be the country with the largest forced displacement. There's around 6 million Venezuelan people, as refugees, migrants. We are actually not quite sure about Iran, but we surpass Iran in terms of forced displacement. There's also Venezuela is the second most corrupt country in the world, and this is not very handy when it comes to climate advocacy, because it's a country where we cannot speak this, we cannot publicly speak about climate change, because if you talk about climate change, you also have to talk about many other topics, and it will eventually lead to speaking about our current government and political situation. But just for the very reason, Venezuela is facing what I dare to say one of the greatest crises. And of course, I've been very big on that, because it really affects everything related to social life, and social is also environmental. They go together, and right now there's barely 6.5 million out of 11 million youth people in the country that are enrolled in schools. So we're talking about that 4 million people are actually young people are not actually attending schools, and they are not receiving any kind of climate education. It's very concerning because, as we know, it's a vast majority, the 90% of people of the country, that they are living in very precarious conditions. So those are people that are not actively involved in climate action. And we need them to, in spite of the situation that we're living right now. Let's put into context that Venezuela is going to change, or the panorama is going to change. But the truth is, what are we going to do with these many million people that are not actively, advocating for the country and taking into consideration the importance of Venezuela, and it's as a key factor in the international playground, also taking into consideration the vast resources that Venezuela has. And Venezuela currently has a population of 30 million people. I also want to share that of those, 6.5 million young people of the country, the 99% only attends 2 days per week to school. Legally, they are supposed to attend 5 days per week to school, but right now, because of the infrastructures, just in my state, around the 80% of the educative infrastructure is in very precarious situation. There's are not really safe for people to attend school. Roof is actually falling. Teachers there don't pay what they deserve, and I think that's a situation that we see in many other countries. The problem here is extreme poverty. So teachers actually they don't go to teach, and right now the government is requesting the same students to teach classes. I was one of them when I was starting to my earth year, soon to my graduation. And the sad part of all this, the sad part of all this is that during their academic years, most of students in Venezuela, they do not receive climate education. So we're talking about not only the people who are currently attending school, because if we consider there are 4 million people that are young people that are not attending school, and if we even consider that there's like 6.4 million people that they attend school, but they are not actually receiving climate education, we can imagine how concerning the situation is. And the other part, when it comes to climate education, we have climate education institutionalized, in the daily life for country, and the daily academic life. But children actually receive like for 1 year, less than 1 year, 8 months, and let's say they attend for these 8 months like 1 hour per week, and they have this class called nature. It's not even that, it doesn't even speak about climate education. It's important to point out that the government recognized the climate crisis in 2022, if I'm not mistaken. So it's been something very present since like 2 years ago. Before that, which is climate change is just like, this distant topic to many people of the world. It's also considered that many people, like the 99% of the people in Venezuela, have problems accessing internet. They have problem accessing, any kind of education, because, for instance, libraries, we don't have them here. So it's very concerning. And at the end of the day, when we have this vast group of people that are not attending school, but we have a 10%. Remember that 90% of the population in Venezuela is very poor, extreme poverty. Now we have a 10% that it's either middle class, rich class. Remember that in the current world that they were living today, the richest are becoming richer and the poorest are becoming poorer. And that's a sad part, because at the end of the day, we're causing social segregation. Venezuela is a country in Latin America. We have a very, very profound history, slavery, of colonization. So social segregation is a topic that's been very, very present since the foundation of my country, and even years before that. It's always been present. And I think it's most present if you can actually sense it in my city, which is Valencia, because it used to be the capital city of Venezuela. And also back then, when the capital city used to be actually one street, this social segregation of indigenous communities, Black communities and the Spanish communities. It actually they didn't live together most of the time. They were all separated, and we can see that division even nowadays. So when climate education encounters social segregation, how do we teach? In this case, the context of Venezuela. I'm going to be sharing with you this organization that is called Meraki Foundation. Meraki means doing something with love, doing something with passion. And there are a youth-led NGO based in Valencia that works with the children of La Piedad. La Piedad used to be the most dangerous area of the city, but not also the most dangerous area, but they also face a lot of extreme poverty. And the conditions in which the children have been living, of course, from Meraki Foundation has been, actively trying to change the course of their lives and everything. And we are currently changing a full generation. But at the end of the day, I always say when people go to their homes and probably they don't have food, when we face the social breakdown, when we face this whole, yes, let's go rotten society, people are not actually thinking about climate action. And that's a very, very sad situation because how can you demand, just for instance, the children that they don't even know how to read because most of these children that live in these communities are either entirely or partially illiterate, so they don't even know how to read. They like to play sports a lot, for instance, but how we can demand them to actively be climate activists? We cannot do that. You are not thinking about protecting our planet when you are hungry. You are not thinking about protecting our planet when you probably go home and your father is either a drunk or a drug dealer, or probably you are experiencing malnutrition and many other food insecurity, many other problems that may be going around these kinds of communities. But Meraki Foundation found a way when they could provide this climate education from a more holistic or comprehensive approach. And it's that Meraki Foundation not only focuses on climate education, that's the very key part of them, but they also have other activities and they try to have this comprehensive approach when they're teaching, I don't know, a barbershop course to the children, because they also provide professional courses to the children of this community. When they are doing that, they are also talking about, how to be responsible with your trash, how to be responsible with the materials you use. Just for instance, in these pictures, is a recent activity they have when they found a lot of, let's say, old pieces of garments and clothing that it was either, they didn't fit on them, and they basically turned into something new. And they've been receiving classes, they've been doing tree plantations. It's been very, very full on that. And as you can see, they've been also changing the lifestyle of the people. I think the very key part of the Meraki Foundation is there are two key parts of Meraki Foundation. The first one is the Filas de la Guacamaya Municipal Park, which is the main area where the foundation, is been working. And the other part is the social integration of the whole generation. I will start with the Filas de la Guacamaya Municipal Park. And this is my city, Valencia, from an upper view. And this, what we have here is the Parque de Municipal Filas de la Guacamaya, the Municipal Park Filas de la Guacamaya, which is, I think, one of the most important green lawns of the city. But it's been facing very, very precarious situation. This is about 800 acres long. So the Filas de la Guacamaya Municipal Park, in Venezuela, we have two seasons. We have the dry season and we have the rain season. We don't have winter We don't have summer, we don't have spring, we don't have autumn. We only have these two seasons that we are a tropical country, and they are very drastic. The problem with this municipal park and this green lawn is that there are communities living there, communities that are not supposed to live there, and communities that feel in a way neglected by our current government, by our current structure in society, either by skin color, either by they don't have the the resources to coexist with the general Valencian society. So they've been instead of the structure helping them hand, it's doing totally the opposite. So Meraki Foundation is looking for ways they can provide them opportunities to grow and learn and actively take care of this green law. Because we not only we have the greatest system of caves here in Valencia, and I think it's the only actually. We have three historical landmarks just in this very mountain, because the municipal park is actually a mountain. And this is what I want to get is there are many communities living here. We have, for instance, La Piedad that I already told you about. You will learn a lot about it in just some minutes. But we are facing right now that people are living in very poor conditions. People are, they are in the very center of our urban life, but at the same time, they live in this municipal park. They build their houses there. Some people may use, recycled materials that they find, but they are not supposed to live there. There's a reason why it's a municipal park. It's actually to preserve the area, because one of the problems that have Venezuela is, urban planning. How do we plan the structure of a country? Because most of the country is actually not planned. It's not planned. And just to show you an example, this is Caracas. You see, when you go into Caracas, it's like going to, I don't know if you ever heard about the favelas in Brazil, but it's kind of similar. It's actually a total subculture, a total different lifestyle that you can see in other parts of the city. And in order to prevent this in Valencia, they actually officialized the municipal park Filas de la Guacamaya as a municipal park, as a green law in the city, in order to preserve it from, turning into an area that could possibly cause damage to the biodiversity that we can see in the park. And the thing is that we don't fully know what are the current conditions of the park, because it had not been properly studied. We don't know how many plant species are currently there, how many bird species are currently there. We don't know, for instance, how many serpents are currently there, because there are. And we don't fully know where species are coexisting with these people. The sad part is that, on the other hand, while we see a neglected area, which is the park, it's actually leading to social segregation, to many problems. I personally prefer to call the inhabitants, mostly the children of the mountain ranges, because they live in the very top of the mountain. So when the sunset comes, you just see them playing them. They are part of the whole environment, and they are supposed to preserve it. And we are trying to give them tools to actively support the conservation and preservation of this area. Other things that we can see in this place or in other activities is that Meraki Foundation don't have a straight, let's say, climate education approach. They focus on different areas and then try to correlate it to climate education. They, for instance, got the attention of the communities by exports, mostly football, soccer, and basketball. And they also, for instance, if they're going to have like a movie night, then they will request it's called the fee to enter. It's actually a plastic bottle. So they have been trying to do opportunities and trying to do activities in order to motivate the children to participate, and so such as creating their own toys. They are learning about finance. They are learning about plantation preservation. They are learning about art. They are learning about a lot of things, and even they have classes when it comes to psychology. And I want to share that caring is loving, because when we enter a very complex context, which is the daily life of these communities that are called barriadas in Venezuela, the people are very distrustful. They don't trust outsiders. It's very difficult to actually get in there and make a comprehensive approach and make a change. And we're actually doing that. And I think it's very brave of the whole Meraki Foundation to actively participate in that. And I think I'm running late on time, if I'm not mistaken. So to wrap it up, I just want to share that
you can take a while. We have next guest Eric already in the waiting room, but just wrap it up as nicely as you can.
yes, I try to wrap it as fast as possible. And I just want to share that, for instance, the Meraki Foundation has currently achieved that we have the first generation of children, let's say the first generation of family that are actually enrolled in school, and they just went to high school. And it's very important because this kind of compromise, this kind of behavior, this kind of interest, it's not been happening in previous generations. So we're actually taking a general approach and very multidisciplinary approach through experts, through arts, through education, through a lot of things, through fashion even, for children to be the ones to shape their reality, because I think that's a very key part, that we are trying to provide children with the tools to change their reality. So I think we don't have time of that, but there I would share probably in the link chat, in the chat, I will provide you with the link to watch one of the documentaries about this community. I'm not sure if I have time. We have time, Rajibji, so just let me know that. But we made a documentary, 10 minutes long, 9 minutes long, about the reality of these communities. And at the other side, I want to invite you all to visit the Instagram of this foundation, which is Meraki Foundation. You can copy, you can screenshot. And of course, the Bob Movement, which is the organization I belong to, that been also helping this group of children in this community of around 100 people to take bigger steps in their lives. So thank you very much. And I think we don't have time to share the documentary. Is that right, Rajibji?
Thank you, Ricardo, so much for being here. Requested to stop your screen sharing.
Give me a second.
Okay. Great to hear from you, Ricardo, and you're as lovely as you always are. And I know Venezuela is a lovely country and the nice effort that you're doing amid troubled conditions. Some of the parts of Venezuela match Indian conditions also, but we have moved a long way. And I think in upcoming days, these are the countries that we should be looking forward to. So we now have Eric on the screen. Eric Hansel, welcome. He is joining from New York. It's 8 o'clock there. And we had some great guests from New York, Dr. Ash Pachori, Saroj ma'am, Dr. Norma from Mexico, and the entire Pop family from there. So thank you, Eric, very much for accepting our invitations for a short time. And for the young students who are there, they have been here at almost 24 hours and overnight also engaging in sessions also that. I can't actually describe Eric very nicely, but whatever I know, whatever I can, I'll try to bring it down to as easily as possible. So Eric is the founder of ScubaVerse, which is a metaverse company. Is dedicated to enhancing awareness and stakeholder engagement for life below water, which is also the goal number 14 of UN SDG. He leverages Web3 technology. Now he will tell you what is Web3 technology is, and he gamifies the conservation and sustainable use of marine resources. He's passionate about sustainability, and he is a bridge between sustainability into Web3. So there's a nice integration of technology and how sustainability can be used. And these are young students. A lot of them want to go to AI in gamification. Gaming is one of the kids' most coveted areas of expertise. And you saw that the cohesion very nicely. You have a rich background in spanning United Nations and the casino industry. In India, casinos are not legalized, but our bordering Nepal, we have casinos. We have some casinos in Goa, but Las Vegas is known as the casino country. So it's also, so you have technology, money, and also internet and technology together with sustainability. Good. And he is the chairman. He authored the first sustainability standard for casino industry and contributed to SASB and the UN codes team, which he will define what it means to all of you. In 2009, Eric's company EGM Green received the first ever eco-friendly award at International Gaming event. So his profile is very diverse, very different from the kind of guests that we have throughout the day. So Eric, I request you to bring it down to the level of, these are very young students, but they are the hope for tomorrow. So bring it down to their level, and I hand it over to you for your session. Take your time, Eric, as swiftly and as coolly as possible.
Thank you very much, Rajiv, for allowing me to be here and for giving me the time, and then also for redoing my time so that I can put my daughter to bed after this. I appreciate the pop movement and my brother Ash and Norma and Saroj for allowing me to be here. And I guess I'll start off by saying that my path to sustainability and being a climate or biodiversity person has taken a really wide turn. In the early 2000s, I decided that I was going to switch careers from business development into sustainability, large-scale sustainability for the casino industry. I'd already been in the industry for a little while, and I noticed that there was an opportunity for energy savings to be had in an industry that didn't care about them. I spent a few years speaking and writing in C-level magazines, and then I came up with an idea to make slot machines more energy efficient. It became a standard called the Sustainable Gaming Standard, and my partner at the time, who was the lead for existing buildings chairman, Michael Arney, was my standard developer. And at the outset, I thought that we could make slot machines more energy efficient. By the time we were done and we had put together a transdisciplinary team who were able to collaborate and put out ideas, we wound up with a pretty holistic roadmap for the casino industry. And that was one of the reasons why my company won the first eco-friendly award at the International Gaming Awards. And that year we beat a roulette manufacturer, and we also beat the Palazzo in Las Vegas, so a multi-billion-dollar casino. What was really interesting then, and I'll relate it to Web3 now, is that I got laughed at a lot in an industry that is built on excess and not on efficiency. And I wound up partnering eventually with the World Series of Poker, and we built an eco-friendly poker table. And it sounds a little silly, but what happened was it allowed the world's largest casino brand, Harrah's, in their biggest book, Vegas, to have conversations with their stakeholders, poker players, exactly where they were, the World Series of Poker with 0 barrier to entry. Every single player that showed up at the World Series of Poker understood what a poker table was. And it was really easy to explain to them how our table was a little different. We used no VOCs, paints, and stains. We used sustainably forested wood. And I think by weight, our table was 99.5% sustainable. The only thing that really wasn't was the felt that sat on top of the table. During that summer of the World Series of Poker, every dignitary and celebrity that came to Harrah's booth. And as a result, they had to learn a little bit about Harrah's commitment to sustainability. And this was 2007. That summer showed me that sustainability's big problem was engagement. It was, how do you help people to understand that the things we're asking them to do aren't these really huge asks and heavy lifts. We're asking them to show up where they are about sustainability in the way they do. Finance people have money. Marchers go and march. Energy efficiency folks focus on lighting as the lowest hanging fruit. And back in the early 2000s, the way that it was being positioned was that it was either you were into sustainability or you weren't. I'll skip forward a little bit. After that, I was asked to participate in the early days of SASB, which is a Sustainable Accounting Standards Board, and Michael Bloomberg was our chairman at the time. What I saw happen there was a gathering of a lot of corporates and brands talking about how they could embrace sustainability and get to this net zero goal. And what we talked about a lot were carbon offsets as an on-ramp for these brands to achieve their goals. Unfortunately, what we've seen over the past 10 years, 12 years, is that this on-ramp became a really easy and inexpensive check mark for brands to use to greenwash. When you think about the opportunities that exist for brands to connect and engage with their communities, not their customers, but their communities, it's a huge opportunity. And it was a huge miss for a bunch of years. Over the past few years, we've seen carbon offset offerings be held to the fire because offsets were being sold multiple times. These offsets weren't certified as being sold only once. And I think as I think about what I would do next in my life, this was back in 2020, I really like the idea of decentralization, and I like the idea of Web3 and sustainability coming together. And I thought it couldn't be any more difficult than the casino industry. So Web3 back in 2020 is made up of a lot of dreamer kind of people, folks that were willing to get into a crypto market that was still relatively new, even though a bunch of my friends from the casino industry entered right after the Unlawful Internet Gaming Act in 2009 or 10 as a way to shelter their funds. from that time until 2020, really until 2017, the crypto markets were in their infancy stage. And the people that were using them were being accused of using them for nefarious reasons. I'm sure some of them were, but most of them were not. It was a way to continue to transact in regulatory environments that shifted really rapidly. When I started to think about what I could do to help engage people on both Web3 and sustainability, large-scale sustainability and climate, I thought back to when I was a kid, and I'm 50, so I grew up with the original Atari when it came out, and I played a lot of Space Invaders, and I played a lot of Asteroids, and I noticed that when I would play and then I would get killed in the game, my initial reaction as a little kid was to get angry at the game and call it a cheater and yell and fight with my brother, instead of coming back to the game and figuring out what I did wrong and how I could do it differently. And eventually I started to think that way. And when I did, I was able to make it past things that I wasn't able to make it past before. And I think that the lesson in resilience that I got from playing video games stuck with me. And when I think about sustainability and the engagement problem that we obviously were having, you know, I have friends who were ahead of the curve in this world. A colleague who participated in the IPCC that Ash's father chaired, and shared that Nobel Prize. And the things that he talked about made such sense to me. They seem so logical that if we can reduce the energy used by buildings, by states, by countries, by going after the lowest hanging fruit first, lighting, before doing other projects, we could demonstrate a real cost savings, which at the end of the day is kind of the polarizing fight that sustainability folks have been having for a long time. When I was working with Harrah's, I had a meeting with their regional president for Vegas, their biggest book of business, as well as the 7 vice presidents that represented their universe, the entire world for Harrah's. And we were talking about a lighting retrofit, and I was young. And the way that I approached sustainability was from this place of really caring about it. Having grown up by the ocean, having spent a lot of my time in the ocean and on the sand and fishing and boogie boarding and skimboarding and swimming, it mattered to me that this place that I cared about was not covered in garbage, that the fish that I caught weren't contaminated. And I talked a lot with this group at Harrah's about what I cared about. Instead of just saying to them, we can give you a 30% return on investment with a 30% return with a 3-year, sorry, I'm messing up my words. We can give you a 3-year payback by doing this lighting job. And at the end of the meeting, I wound up not getting a business. And Don, the regional president, and I spent a little bit of time talking afterwards. It became clear to me that if I wanted people to care about sustainability who traditionally cared about their wallets, and casinos certainly fall into that bucket, then I needed to explain it to them from their perspective. I needed to have empathy for these folks and understand where they were coming from so that I could explain the benefits that they would get from doing a lighting job, from doing an HVAC job, from putting solar energy in. That was missing. When I started down this Web3 path in 2020, I thought that I needed to do another standard as well, because that's my place of comfort, the geeky, sciencey stuff. So I joined a team through the UN called CODES, which is the Coalition on Digital and Environmental Sustainability. And it's effectively a 100-page document that is a country-level roadmap to digital transformation. I'm participating now in another working group around digital literacy with many of the same folks from CODES, and some others. And when we were done with our document and we presented it to the General Assembly, it was really well received. And then we came back into our breakout room, and one of the leaders said, "It's great that we did this. Everything's going really well. But the problem is we get no engagement. Nobody sticks around after the fact and puts their money where their mouth is." After all these years of work, I finally made it to this place that I had always dreamed of getting to. And the problems that they were experiencing at this level, at a country level, were exactly the same that I was experiencing at every step along the way. Sustainability and engagement is a tough thing, because the conversations for a really long time have been this polarizing fight between what we have now and how we have to change it in order to do better for the planet. So I thought if I could make a game, then, or a series of games, then we could engage young people who think with their hearts already, not with their wallets, and who have the ears of the wallets as our children, our grandchildren, and have the ability to have these intergenerational conversations that I always found impossible to have. But when my daughter, who's 8, says to me that she wants to do something, I want to understand it. So the idea to use Web3 technology, NFTs, digitally verifiable items, as a way to reward players means that we can do things like digitally twin an oil spill that exists in the real world into a game, alert players that there's a quest going on, that they'll have to leave the things that they do every day in a game. And for people that game, you go in and there are certain things that you do every day so that you get all of your stuff, and then you start to play, and then maybe within the play there's also a clan that you're part of, or a group that you're part of, and this would be something separate, and players would need to make a decision to leave the things that they're doing on a regular basis and go out and search for this problem. And when they find the problem, they would understand that it's way too big for them to deal with on their own, just like in the real world. They would figure out that in order to deal with an oil spill like that in the game, they would need to share resources with other players. work collaboratively, take time away from the things that they were doing. And these steps are the same steps that NGOs in the real world go through in order to mitigate problems like this. And then at the end of it, when they're done cleaning up the oil spill, players will be rewarded with an NFT that says you cleaned up by using in-game monetization to pay for the cleanup. You've cleaned up maybe 0.003% of the real world oil spill. Again, it seems silly when I talk about it. To me, it does. But silly in the same way that the casino table seemed, that the poker table seemed. That it's so simple, but that it gives players, my 8-year-old daughter, the ability to get her first climate win by playing a game. When I got into the industry, play to earn was a thing in Web3. And it was such a thing that there were player farms in the Philippines where people were not doing other jobs and were playing a game called Axie Infinity because they could earn more money doing that. This notion of play to earn was a really good test, but it wasn't the end. The end, or at least the next step, is rewarding players for things that they do that actually matter, not just being on a game server for an extended period of time. And we could still use the in-game monetization to fund oil spill cleanup when they go on this side quest. And as players collect enough of these real world NFTs, we can give them experiences. Maybe let them learn how to go scuba diving. Or, as an example, we've been working with a researcher who's at the IPN, where Norma has been for a really long time. And her focus is on manta rays in the Mexican Caribbean. We started working on this about a year ago at World Ocean Week. And we found out last Friday that we've been endorsed, or we're in the process of being endorsed by the UN Ocean Decade. I think that we're at the very beginning of how games can make this real world impact. We see it in Playing for the Planet, which is a UN initiative to engage game makers. But I don't think that we're at the place where we need to be. Using games and the monetization that comes from games, or some of it, to fund solving real world issues, I think is a really, really interesting way to approach attempting to engage young people on climate. When it comes down to it, that's what my focus is. I want my daughter and her friends, who will be the ones that have to fix the problems that we've caused, to have the tools in their tool belt to be able to do that. And by allowing them to learn about climate, nature, biodiversity through gameplay and values placed within those games, much in the same way that products are placed within movies and TV shows versus in-your-face advertising. I think that that's how we move the needle. I'll end it with this, because this is World Ocean Week, and when Jane and I, the manta ray researcher, met, we were at a talk at World Ocean Week in New York at the Explorers Club that Dr. Sylvia Earle was giving. Sylvia's Mission Blue is a partner to the Scubaverse. And when I was at COP28 this year, I heard Sylvia give another talk, and this time she brought with her the person within Mission Blue who does marketing. And Sylvia at 91 said something that I think is really, really important. That the planet has had really bad marketers up until this point. And what we need is to take up climate action and action to save biodiversity. And I hope that that's what the Scubaverse can help to show people. And I hope that I can help any of you here who have questions. I see that I am at the end of my time. It always goes much quicker than I think it will. Rajiv, thank you very much. And now if there are questions, I'll answer them. And if Rajiv, you'd like to move on.
Eric, thank you so much. I know I was listening to you quite intently. It's a life experience that you narrated here, and it comes from a very diverse thing and something that's hitting you on the mind and the heart. And that's how you have been able to change and do things like you're doing. I remember I read a book long way back. It's called The Class. It's the story of 4 or 5, 6 friends, school friends, who turned into great individuals. And they also rewrote the history of current USA in many, many fields, including the setup and establishment of Las Vegas, which is known for casino industry. And what you're doing currently is like integrating technology, environmental sustainability, and whatever you told about your own experience and what you want for your daughter. This makes a very interesting story. So anybody who was listening to you intently will derive from what you're trying to say and what you're trying to do. I sure have questions for you, but I'm sure that the students also, maybe the questions are little, but I will put up anyone who wants to ask Eric a question. He is into something that would actually like. I wanted to know from him, how does casino machines work and how we can make money out of that? Are they programmed, and are you programmed to, because nobody comes out richer from casino. So that's like very interesting general question that you do with environmental sustainability. But any students, please put up your hand and I'll put you up on this screen for questioning. Arna has her hands up.
I'll answer your question while we're waiting for a second. I would say now that the opportunity exists. And Dr. Esch and I talked about this recently with a colleague to build metaverse casinos, which could benefit different projects. And metaverse casinos could operate in the same way that I'm talking about, using games to operate, where we use some of the monetization that occurs, some of the revenue generated by the casinos to fund climate initiatives. I'm happy to talk more with you about this. And I see that Arna, is that how I say your name?
Eric, just for students, I mean, Web3 technology refers to decentralized and blockchain use of blockchain and token-based cryptocurrency as well. So Anna has a question for you. And yes, I was going to ask you whether it is possible to set up a kind of environmental casino, a climate casino for the young students, because, you know, they like to play games. And we had a very good guest this afternoon. He is Carl Stenner from Sweden. They have made very interesting games on climate call, which is very interesting and adaptable by students. So casino, obviously everybody likes it, but if you can turn it into something that engages people in audience towards climate awareness and sustainability and climate action, also using the same concept as in casino, but in terms of cash and money, but in terms of environmental credits, that's something we can think of. I'll have a word with Dr. As and see how we can get into the young minds also. So Arna, yes, your question?
You're on mute, I think.
We can't hear you, Arna. There is a bit of problem with your mic.
Check your voice.
Sir, now am I audible?
Yes. Visible and audible.
Greetings, Eric sir. Sir, my question for you is that what has been the most challenging aspect of your career and how do you overcome it? And could you share a pivotal moment that solidified your commitment to environmental causes?
He's asking to share your wow
So
moment.
there, yeah. Um, I don't think it was a moment. I didn't realize it until afterwards how much nature meant to me. I grew up by the beach and I spent a lot of time in the water and on the beaches. And when I went away to college, I didn't live by the beach anymore. And every time I would come home from college, and I lived out there for 10 years, I would drive right to the beach without even thinking about it. And I would drive to the beach and I would sit there until I was ready to go to the next thing. I would say that growing up in the area that I grew up in and seeing what's possible with understanding the impact that nature had on me was maybe the wow moment for me. And it took a really long time for me to understand that. I just assumed that it was the thing that I would always do. And now I see that it's not just water. A lot of times when I'm on calls, I'm walking in the woods or on the beach. Because I think it's amazing that we have this stuff. And one other, so maybe there was one wow moment. When I went to college, for 2 years, I lived in an apartment with a guy from Mumbai and a guy from Tokyo and me. And aside from it being the most disgusting apartment in college, it was kind of amazing to have this experience with these different cultures together. And I didn't totally realize it. And about 10 years after I graduated, I went and visited a Rohit in Mumbai and traveled around with him a little bit, traveled around by myself a little bit, and got to spend time with his family. And one of the places that I went to was Ranthambore Tiger Reserve up in Sawai Madhopur in Rajasthan. And when I was on the safari, we were in the woods and a golden eagle came down and flew right above us. And I remember in that moment looking around thinking that these woods don't look very different from the woods that I have in New Jersey, but I never appreciate them the way that I'm appreciating the woods here because it's different for me. And when I got home, I think that was when I really started to go into the woods and go camping and hiking, and I started to understand it a bit more. Before that, I think I was just on autopilot. Does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Eric, sir,
Thank you for the question.
Just before that, when I was talking to Norma, I said sometimes it gets boring to fight climate change and initiate climate action and generate environmental awareness in your local surroundings. So let us exchange places and we can do climate action in USA and other countries that you can come and do it here. It just makes it more interesting. It's a similar words, similar people all over the world, similar challenges. But when you change places or get into audience with different people, it has a different impact on your mind. And that is exactly the purpose of getting this event. I'll tell you about the bit of history about this event also. My journey began officially in 2000 with a program called Environment Online in Finland. And we were celebrating 20 years of NO in 2020 when Corona hit us all. And it shocked everybody because things happened that we could never imagine could happen to us. And ECNA was also formed in 2008. So usually we had conferences in Finland every 2 years and different places in Taiwan in regional conferences. So we didn't know what to do. So we thought we'll celebrate this 20th online and we'll start with the first countries that received sunlight in East Timor. And then we'll travel down with tree planting activities throughout the world because we had network in 150 countries. So that 24-hour event generated. And Indians are crazy people, you know, we have lots of population, lots of things to do. So when we mooted this 24-hour, they called us, I mean, it's impossible, you can't do it. But we did it anyway. And then I realized that because we did not know Zoom, we did not know online things, most of the people did not know. Then we realized the potential of converting into a platform for all this networking together with different organizations, different kind of people doing different work in parts of the world. It has given us a fabulous platform. So we connect this youth and we want them to know these are the things that are happening around the world. These are the individuals, these are the organizations. Take any call, join anybody you have a liking for. You will find people who will be with you and you can be the person you want to be. So thank you very much, Eric, for being there. We can take a few more questions because our next guest, Mosi Ruku, who is supposed to join from South Sudan, is the remote part of the world. She is currently maybe having some technical difficulties. So we have more time from her session also, unless he joins in. So any other person who wants to ask a question? Eric, you want to say something?
I would say too, while we're waiting for the question, when I got into sustainability, I realized that I was new at it, right, as a career, not as someone who cared about it, but as a career. And what I did was I started calling people that had experience, and I got turned down a lot. And I kept going and going and going, and like the colleague I talked about earlier, who shares that Nobel Prize with Dr. Ash's father, I just started calling when I found out that he won this Nobel Prize. I just started calling because I wanted to learn about how to work in the world of sustainability, and this guy understood it. And I called him for maybe a year and a half. And now he's an amazing friend of mine. We've been friends for, I don't know, 15 years or something. We've worked together on projects. He's a mentor to me. He's a teacher to me. And I'm really grateful that there are people like that out there in the world. And I would say that Dr. Ash is another one of those, and so is Norma. And if you want to learn something that you don't know and you're out of school like I was, the option really is to reach out to experts. And, I'll say that it has happened, but it barely happens that I reach out to someone and ask a genuine question and they're not willing to give me an answer. And I think that I try to do the same because it's happened to me a lot. And so I'll say, if you think you want something, you try it. Just like Rajiv said, people told him that he couldn't do it, and so he did it. And now it's not a big deal. Look, you guys can all do the same. And now I see Shambhavi has a question.
Shambhavi, I'll put you up a question. Eric, yes, I had the honor of working with Dr. Rajan Pachori for a while. We planted trees with him in Finland with the president of Finland, Tarja Halonen then. And these connections may can take you farther. And we have been friends with Dr. Ras, and we are doing great things together and we're connecting so many people. So again, I'm grateful to have you on this program. Shambhavi, he's a very young enthusiast climate activist and student. Shambhavi, over to you. Shoot your question.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Eric, sir. I'm Shambhavi Chaudhary. I am a student of class 8. So my question for you is that what was your main inspiration and what inspired you the most for creating all these casinos and all? So what was that main inspiration for you?
I just always liked doing different things. And I didn't go to school for this. I worked in hospitals before this. And I worked in critical care and neonatal intensive care and trauma. And this was just something I always cared about a lot. And as you get older, the things that matter change. Being able to provide a place for my children to grow up safely, happily, matters a lot. The perspective that I brought from working in the hospitals helped me a lot, because if somebody didn't want to do something with me, it didn't bother me at all. And people would say, well, you didn't like the casino stuff. You're writing in these things and people are laughing. Of course they're laughing, because they don't understand. They understand that casinos make a lot of money and people want to see that money being spent so that they feel like they're in this luxurious place. But that stuff didn't matter to me. What mattered to me was that I could do something that was helping. And when I worked in the hospitals, that was how I saw it, that I was an advocate for these patients, whether they had no voice because they were in the trauma bay or because they were a little baby in the NICU. And then when I got into sales, I did medical stuff, and I viewed myself as an advocate for the people who I was selling things to, because it was equipment that I used when I was a clinician. And then when I got into sustainability, I viewed it as the same thing, that I'm an advocate for the issue. And I think that that's the thing that's always helped me, is that in the front of my mind, I want to advocate for the people, for the things that are underrepresented, that really matter. And because when I was in the hospital, if I had a bad day, it meant that a little baby died. It didn't really matter to me when I got out of there if people didn't like what I had to say the first time. And I always took it as not yet, not no. Like they told Rajiv, you can't do this. He was like, I'm going to try it. What's the worst that could happen? And I think that if you take that attitude with you through life, you get to be happier. And at the end of the day, that matters a lot. I practiced mindfulness for 20 plus years with the same teacher. And being able to have empathy for others and build compassion and make decisions based on that compassion has helped me a lot. It sounds cliche, but that's the thing I think that's helped me the most, is practicing my mindfulness, practicing advocating for others, practicing thinking about my daughter when I have conversations like this and talk to young people. I hope that answered your question. And if it didn't, please ask more. And if you're somebody that would like to talk with me offline after all of this, I'd be happy to help you.
That all was so inspiring to know about. So thank you very much.
So that was Sambhavi. And Pankudi, you have a question for sir, Eric sir? Anything, any wild question will do.
My question is, what is your inspiration behind all this?
I got to swim in a really clean ocean when I was a kid. And now when I go scuba diving in New Jersey, that ocean's not as clean. When I go scuba diving in other parts of the world, it's not as clean. My daughter, my sons, deserve better than I have. And
I think, Eric, your voice is breaking up a bit.
And the thought that we can leave, that's not, it wasn't that my voice was breaking up. It's that I get a little emotional talking about it. My inspiration are my children and my friends' children and my daughter's friends. When I walk in the woods with my daughter or we go camping and she notices every little thing and wants to explore things, it's amazing. And it reminds me of walking around New York with Dr. Ash, who says that it's fun to walk around with me because I notice everything. And I think I just want to take it all in. You know, that was advice I got from my grandma when I was young, over and over again, to take it all in. There are things that you might think are good. There are things that you might think are bad. But all of these things help us to get to where we need to be. And if you try to block out the things that in the moment you think are bad, you're missing out on something amazing. And I'll end it with this. Something happened to me 12 years ago that changed my life. I had a spinal injury and I was in a wheelchair. And I was told that I wouldn't get out of the wheelchair. And I reacted to that, to the doctors and everyone else telling me that, the same way Rajiv reacted to people telling him that he couldn't do this. I just worked at it. And I worked at it every day. And in my head, I was either going to learn how to walk again, or I was going to be 95 years old and fall out of my wheelchair and die cracking my head open. And it took me almost 3 years to learn how to walk again. And I think that the mindfulness that I practice is one of those things that help me to understand that a day, which could have been 24 hours of torture, was actually made up of tons of little moments. Moments where I would try to move, moments where I would be in physical therapy, moments where I could watch TV, moments where I could eat some fruit. Some of the moments were good and some of the moments didn't seem so pleasant. But looking back on that time in my life, it was one of the best things that happened to me. It showed me what I had inside of me. And it showed me what everybody else has inside of them. My example is a spinal injury. Rajiv's example is this conference. Everybody has examples like this in their life of things that seemed insurmountable. And if you just put your effort towards it, you'll see that it's not insurmountable. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And we have Drishya Pathak and Komal Mittal from Protect Our Planet. You must know them. They are acting now to protect our planet. So before we turn into their session, I request you to stay a few bits more because we really need to show you something. We also have Dr. Pratisha Dikshit. Sambhavi is a student at our school, the little girl that asks you questions. So Pratisha ma'am, you want to say something, a quick sentence before we move on to some videos, documentary that I want to show to Eric, and then we move on to Komal and Drishya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. And greetings to everyone who's present over here, some from yesterday and those who have joined now. So, sir, you always know that I don't like to say a few words only. Still, I'll resist myself. I would like to start with the quote, which is not the favorite of mine only, but Rajiv says also, the world is a dangerous place to live, not only because of the people who are evil, but because of the people who don't act now. It's a famous quote by Albert Einstein. So I'm very happy to get this opportunity on the Environment Day. Uh, we know that humanity is on the march. Earth itself is left behind. Our educational system is focused on the integral development of children, young people, and citizens, and constantly evolves and improves to remain, sustainable. So, Act Now campaign coordinates a wide range of events, including millions of people across the globe, bringing them on a common platform for the noble cause to do something for ourselves, our one and only Mother Earth, and taking the initiative to create innovative solutions to address the wicked problems that threaten, the sustainability and the environment. So all this exercise is focused on the mission and vision of developing the Generation Xi, the future principled, innovative leaders who improve the world. So nice to see, and in fact, getting encouraged to see these young green warriors who are doing their job wonderfully, and on the front foot they are taking the action at their end and encouraging others too. So keep up the good work. Kudos to all the participants who are doing this noble job. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. If Eric can hear me before we move to the next session, I'll request JK sir to play our theme song. And I must tell Eric that this theme song is composed using artificial intelligence for lyrics as well as music composition. JK sir, can you play V1, please, track?
Sure, sure.
This is for Eric.
In a world so big, we often feel small, but together we can make a difference, standing tall. With every step we take, we're creating change, and now's the voice that echoes through the range. Rise up, let's make a stand for the earth and all its wonders. Hand in hand with the future, we hold the key. Together we can save the world, you and me. Ooh, yeah. Through the power of knowledge, we're lighting minds, spreading the message, one student at a time. From mountains to oceans, we'll protect the land. With that now, united we'll make a stand. We'll make a stand. In a world so big, real small, but together we can make a difference, standing tall. With every step we take, we're creating change, and now's the voice that echoes through the range. Rise up, let's make a stand for the earth and all its wonders. Hand in hand with the future, we hold the key. Together we can save the world, you and me. Ooh, yeah. Through the power of knowledge, we're lighting minds, spreading the message, one student at a time. From mountains to oceans, we'll protect the land. With that now, united we'll make a stand. We'll make a stand. In a world so big, real small, but together we can make a difference, standing tall. With every step we take, we're creating change, and now's the voice that echoes through the range. Rise up, let's make a stand for the earth and all its wonders. Hand in hand with the future, we hold the key. Together we can save the world, you and me. Ooh, yeah.
That was the theme song composed for this event using AI and whatnot. So Thank you, Eric, once more for being with us. And we certainly need to explore more possibilities together. Crash has put us in touch, and we will be in touch. And I welcome Komal Mittal and Drishya Pathak, two young activists, climate activists, environmentalists. We work together a lot these days for working on so many things that we can put together in extreme heat conditions in New Delhi. So, Eric, if you can stay, I know it's getting late for you, but if you can stay on, you're more than welcome. I now hand over to Drishya and Komal, but I'll brief you on the upcoming guests. So we'll be having Kannan Raghunathan Nair following Drishya and Komal. He is the South Asia coordinator for Tony Blair Institute for Climate Change, Global Change. And then we are joined after that by Francis Bizguma, who's an African traveling teacher from Uganda. Janet Basilius from Chicago will be joining us. She's a storyteller and she does something very nice at Can You Did It Earth. Then we will be joined by two young girls from Guatemala, Andrea and Sofia Nava. Both started as very small kids and now they're turned into real climate action champions, currently in Germany working with the Plan for the Planet movement. And then we are joined by Croatian teacher Nada Rasovic. So these are upcoming guests until 9 o'clock for the 7th session, and then we'll head into our last concluding session from 9 to 12 o'clock. So Eric, thank you so much. And with that, I hand over to Drishya and Komal to proceed with the presentations.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm going to have to go to get my daughter to sleep now. I'm sorry I'm going to miss Drishya. I like hearing her speak. I got to meet her in Dubai and she's very, very smart. I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Sure.